Good afternoon, everyone. This is LadyDragon speaking. It's Sunday, October 9th. It's 2 p.m. sharp. Just before I let you go, we have breaking news. Supposedly, they found out that it was Kiev that did that. So we're going to look at this right now. This is gonna go on the uptick, I'm telling you. We heard a bit about it in a previous video. Something's going on with Istanbul as well, under fire. But what is of interest to me is the... Hold on a second. Let me make sure that I'm preparing everything properly. Okay, watch this now.
Giving you the latest world news updates along with the stories that shaped the week.
Okay, listen.
With breaking news, Ukraine's secret services carried out a terror attack by bombing the Crimean bridge, killing 3 people. That's according to the head of Russia's investigative committee, who has just briefed President Putin on the case.
This is no doubt a terrorist attack. All the results of our investigation support this conclusion. It is a terrorist attack prepared by the Ukrainian special services, which is aimed at destroying a significant piece of civilian infrastructure, which is very important for the Russian Federation and especially Crimea. I see. As you just reported, it is indeed no doubt a terrorist attack aimed at destroying a critically important piece of civilian infrastructure in Russia. And those who ordered and those who performed this are the Ukrainian security services and Russian and foreign citizens who helped initiate this attack.
Well, here's the surveillance footage of the blast on the Crimean bridge that happened on Saturday morning. The Russian Anti-Terror Committee says 3 people died in the explosion. The exact cause of the bombing is under investigation. The blast also briefly set a nearby fuel cargo train on fire. At the moment, the collapsed section of the highway remains closed, while officials say all the other parts of the bridge are safe to use. The explosion happened after multiple promises from Ukrainian officials to target the bridge. Ukrainian officials and a number of Western media outlets have been celebrating the deadly explosion on the bridge. RT contributor Rachel Marston
Bon. Allô tout le monde. Ah, ok, c'est ça qui est arrivé là. On a notre live qu'on a fait tantôt a été coupé. Parce que Vlad a reçu ses informations. Attendez une seconde. Attendez une seconde, j'ai un million d'affaires ici. Là. Ok, je vais vous mettre ça là, checker ça là, je reviens. J'ai ça quand j'ai un milliard d'affaires en même temps. Là. Les écureuils n'ont plus de nourriture. Je vais aller chercher des nourritures pour mes écureuils, là, je reviens. Regardez les Tchétchènes en attendant, là. C'est la musique, ça, là? Oui, il y a la musique, je peux pas mettre la musique. Bon, regardez les Tchétchènes, là, je reviens. Bon. Ça, c'est notre chat. La boisson. C'était un bon vidéo. Là. Je vais l'extraire, cette vidéo-là. Quand il faut que je sorte, vous avez quelque chose à regarder cool. Hello, Grace. Bon, on va écouter là. Attendez une seconde. Check ça.
I am both a US citizen and a Swiss citizen, have vis-a-vis international law. I mean, we have weaponize international law against our geopolitical rivals. And evidently, what we do is legal, and what they do is illegal or illegitimate. As the case may be, it's very clear in international law that Geneva Convention 1949, especially the Fourth Geneva Convention with regard to the protection of civilians. This is a civilian infrastructure. It is prohibited to destroy civilian infrastructure. That constitutes a grave breach of the convention. Same thing, the 1977 additional protocols to the Geneva Conventions. Now, in principle, the International Criminal Court could take cognizance of this under Articles 7 and 8 of the Statute of Rome. But the International Criminal Court, unfortunately, looking at its record since it entered into force in the year 2002, so that's now 20 years of operation, is essentially in the service of Washington and Brussels. It refused to investigate the war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Afghanistan and in Iraq. There have been any number of legal briefs submitted. It has refused to investigate the fact that economic sanctions, which are illegal, I mean, the only legal ones are the ones under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, has refused to investigate whether unilateral coercive measures that cause tens of thousands of deaths in Nicaragua, and in Venezuela, and in Cuba, and in Syria, because if you are diabetic and you don't get your insulin, you're dead. If you don't get your medicines, you're dead. So, I mean, the direct result of sanctions is that the supply of food, nutrients, whatever you need to produce medicines is so disrupted that it causes death. When I was rapporteur, I repeatedly asked UNICEF, for instance, to keep count, to quantify the number of civilian deaths attributable to sanctions. They haven't done so. The International Criminal Court is not do it. But what bothers me is this consistent pattern that I spoke about, consistent pattern of illegality, of revolting against principles of international law that are really generally recognized by all civilized nations. And is that you do not attack civilian infrastructure. You don't engage in terrorism.
Sorry to interrupt. What was quite interesting is that on Saturday, shortly after the attack on the bridge, we had Ukrainian officials, celebrating the bombing. But then shortly after, they tried to shift the blame onto Russia, saying that Moscow had attacked its own bridge. What do you make of this claim?
Well, the intellectual dishonesty of it does not surprise me. I've worked in the field of human rights with the United Nations and with any number of non-governmental organizations, and I know that human rights have been instrumentalized to do exactly the opposite. So the amount of lying, the manipulation of the narrative, it's so consistent, whether you're talking about the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Fox, but then even in Europe, even our Neue Zürcher Zeitung here in Zurich in Switzerland repeats the same propaganda that comes from Washington or comes from Brussels. So it is very difficult for the general public, unless they are on their internet all the time, to get the information they need. But there is not just lies emanating from Washington or from Kiev or from Warsaw or from Berlin. I mean, the problem is one of suppression of information. Who remembers now, and it was only on the 20th of August, the terror attack near Moscow, where the daughter of Alexander Dugin was killed in a car bombing. classical gangster stuff, classical terrorism. And we have a program, we in the United States, and Israel has it too, the Mossad has it too, of targeted assassinations. Remember in 2020 when General Soleimani was blown up at the airport in Baghdad. I mean, all of these are major violations of international law, and all of these could be investigated by the International Criminal Court. You could have indictments against those in Kiev or in Washington or in Brussels who have ordered these crimes. But that does not happen because the ICC is in the service of Washington and of Brussels. The human rights, yes.
On that note, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate your insight. Alfred Desires, law professor and former UN expert on international order. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, our correspondent Roman Kozyrev hit the road leading from the mainland to Crimea to see how traffic is moving along there in the aftermath of Saturday's attack.
Okay, Roman,
We are approaching the Crimea Bridge right now. As you can see, there is absolutely no traffic here at the moment. While we were passing several intersections, we saw that the police were blocking cars off. As we understand, they're letting only a few cars through so that not to overload the bridge at the moment, because repair works are still taking place. There are 2 lanes going each way to and from Crimea. You can see people are stopped at this point. According to local authorities, repair works are being done already and all the necessary materials have been ordered. They're giving it a few weeks, but as we understand, train service is working normally. Both freight and passenger trains are running on their previous schedules. The local administration and local Cossack organization are doing everything they can to make sure that all these drivers who are stuck because of the explosion on the Crimea Bridge, so that they have everything they need. They have tents. There are doctors here. Also, there is a kitchen where they can have some food. And we also talked to the volunteers who are here day and night in order to make the stay of the drivers here as comfortable as possible.
We got a call from the administration yesterday. They said a cook was needed. I quickly got my team together and we made a decision to volunteer on the ground to help people, to feed them, to make everything better.
We have organized a temporary parking spot for the vehicles going to Crimea and back across the bridge. Hot meals and tea are being offered to people. Everything works 24/7. We provide everything drivers might need. A main office and a medical center have also been set up. We will work as long as needed. Everything we're providing is for free. The regional and local administrations help a lot, as well as businesses. We're doing our best to solve this problem together.
Traffic for regular private cars has been partially restored on the Crimea Bridge just a few hours after the explosion. At the moment, there are 2 lanes going each way for cars to go to and from Crimea. However, there are still traffic jams there as security measures have been increased. Meanwhile, people are still trying to get to and from Crimea and don't have enough time to stand in long traffic jams, and most of them, including trucks with goods for Crimea, are using ferry services. Now we're standing at one of the ports, which is accommodating several ferry ships here, and they're taking both freight trucks and passenger cars as well. One ferry can take up to 100 vehicles, and it takes about 2.5 hours to go to the city of Kerch on the Crimean Peninsula. Roman Kozyrev, RT, Crimea.
Well, for those of you just joining us, we're bringing you breaking news this hour. Russia's chief investigator has confirmed that the bombing of the Crimean Bridge was a terror attack by Ukraine. Joining me with the details now is our correspondent, Marina Kozyrova. Marina, thanks for coming in. So it's been a pretty chaotic weekend, hasn't it? Could you just talk us through the events and bring us up to speed on the latest?
Absolutely. Well, the incident started on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Locals heard an explosion, which was followed by a massive fire. And then part of the bridge collapsed. 3 people died. We saw Ukrainian officials tweeting their excitement and how happy they were that this happened and that this was a great birthday present for Vladimir Putin, who celebrated his birthday the day before. At first, they were saying that they were alluding to the fact that this was a great achievement on their behalf. Then they started accusing Russia, saying that this is somehow a conspiracy theory and that Russia is that this was all Russia's fault and that they blew up their own bridge. Then they started saying, oh, hold on a second, let's wait until we get the results of the investigation. Well, the results of the investigation are in. Russia's chief investigator said that according to what they found was that it was Ukrainian special services who were behind it. Let's listen to what he had to say and then I'll add it a little bit more.
This is no doubt a terrorist attack. All the results of our investigation support this conclusion. It is a terrorist attack prepared by the Ukrainian Special Services, which is aimed at destroying a significant piece of civilian infrastructure, which is very important for the Russian Federation and especially Crimea.
What's interesting is that he also added that Russian and foreign citizens were involved in helping facilitate this terrorist attack. So this is what I'm curious to hear more about, and hopefully they'll give us more details. Perhaps we'll get it tomorrow, but as it's developing. And this is something, again, we had even European countries and officials from European countries, like, for example, Estonia and even Poland, who were not only saying that Ukraine is behind it, but also applauding them for it. Because, again, the bridge, this was a target all along. And we even heard from Zelensky's presidential advisor that as soon as they found an opportunity to destroy it, to blow it up, they would. And I guess they found that opportunity. But because the bridge, of course, we all knew that it was a target, so there was special equipment installed at the entrance, which is supposed to check for chemicals, for drugs, explosives. So this is how, I assume at the moment, this is just purely my guess, because he said, Russia's chief investigator, that Russian and foreign citizens helped facilitate it. So perhaps he means someone in the personnel working there at the checkpoint checking it. These details is what I'm curious to find out more about. And as soon as I do, I will bring it right here to you.
Marina, I really appreciate that. That's RT correspondent Marina Kozareva. Well, let's go now to Russia's Donetsk Republic, where at least 2 civilians have been wounded after the latest Ukrainian ship.
Bon, fait que c'est ça. J'ai manqué un bout là, de ce que Marina a dit là. Mais elle a dit la même affaire que j'ai dit là. C'était quelqu'un qui était in cahoots avec les fuckers, là, je l'avais dit. Sam, qu'est-ce qu'il y a là? Allez une seconde là. Sam, qu'est-ce qu'il y a là? Bon. Fait que là, il va y avoir des fallouts de cette histoire-là. Je l'avais dit hier, puis on va voir. Bon, on va retourner à nos nouvelles, nous autres. Là, la lune, là, à 3 heures. Sam, viens ici, là. Viens voir mamie, là. Allô, Maurice. Bon, continue à checker mes affaires ici, là. Sam, qu'est-ce que tu fais là? Ça, c'est ça. Je me demande comment ils vont réagir à tout ça là. On savait qui étaient les coupables. Je vais voir comment tout le monde va réagir à ça, là. Viens ici, là, Sam. Ah, ça va parler au petit peu, là, je regarde ça. Bon, on va finir. On va voir s'ils vont dire. Ça, arrête. Hey! Ça, arrête, là! Hey! Mais tu fou, là? Arrête, donc, Sam! Arrête, là! Hey, regardez, c'est le pont. Regardez, il y a des photos, hein? Yeah, c'est le monde qui passe sur le pont. Comme Roman a dit tantôt, il y a 100 véhicules qui peuvent aller sur les ferries. Ils ont 4 à 5 ferries hier. Ça prend 2h30 de se rendre du ferry à là-bas. Les trains passagers, ça fonctionne. Regardez. Bon. Belle photo, hein? Ils disent rien. On va voir ce qu'on ira avec ça, là. Oh, regarde. Ils ont trouvé un American flag. Ils l'ont pris pour s'asseoir dessus. Il y a la plupart des Américains, hein. Ah, cette fois, elle se fait ramasser par un kamikaze ground. Regarde. Hey. Sam, arrête donc, là! Wow, Lithuania proposed to turn off a third of street lights on the road in order to save electricity. Fait que là, ok, Sam, va-t'en là-bas, là. Ah ouais, va-t'en là-bas, là. Va-t'en là-bas. Ah ouais, là-bas. Ok, viens ici, là. En Lituania, ils veulent fermer le 1/3 des lumières sur la rue pour sauver l'électricité. Arrête, Sam. Ah, bonne nouvelle. C'est vraiment officiel. Là. Ça fait 2-3 jours que j'entends parler, mais c'est officiel. The village of Seytsevo was completely taken and cleared by the fighters of the Wagner Group. An important enemy fortified area in Seytsevo has been broken into. The situation of the armed forces of Ukraine south of Bakhmut continue to deteriorate. Well, this is great news. Ils disent ici que le Wagner Group ont libéré, puis ils sont tous en contrôle de Seytsevo. Puis qu'à Bakhmut, là, ça va mal pour les écro-nazis. C'est une bonne nouvelle, ça. Ce vidéo-là, on l'a vu. Ok, Sam, arrête, là. Non, c'est pas le temps pour ça, là. Arrête avec ça, là. Bon, c'est ça. Il répare la rue, là. On l'a vu tantôt, ça. Ils sont en train de réparer le bridge. Ok, arrête, Sam, là. Arrête, là. Regardez les crates, là. Ça, j'ai dit tantôt, ils étaient préparés. Ils ont même des crates. Ok, Sam, arrête, là. Va t'asseoir là, là. Va manger tes patates, là. Arrête. Arrête, arrête. Sam, arrête, là. Attends une seconde, là. Sam, au-toi de là, là. Bon. Bon, il y a l'action aujourd'hui, là. Quelle heure qui est, là? Ok, tasse-toi ce nous, là. Fais pas ça, là. Ouais, la lune à 3 heures, là. Quelle heure qui est, là? Mettre un timer pour ça que j'oublie pas mon affaire. C'est encore bien mieux. Tiens, on va regarder ça, là. Comme ça. Ouais. Ça a l'air que les fighters sont à Bakhmut.
Is to try to distinguish between
So. Hi, Sam. Qui pas, Sam? C'est une vidéo qui dit que Wagner veut éclairer tout ça. C'est à Bakhmut, ça, supposément. Sam, arrête, je t'ai demandé d'arrêter, là. Tu sais d'arrêter, là. C'est pas grand monde, ça arrive, hein? Pas grand monde dans la rue, hein? Bon, ça c'est les fuel tanks qu'il a enlevés. C'est les crates qu'on a vu tantôt, les crates bleus, là. Sinon, je t'ai dit non. Non, je t'ai dit non. Bon, l'Ukraine a demandé plus de weapons parce qu'ils ont peur qu'ils se fassent frapper par la Russie. Cause d'affaires de Crimea. Ok, ça c'était à Paris.
Sortons vite de l'OTAN! Sortons vite de l'OTAN!
Là, on a des...
Sortons vite de l'OTAN!
Est-ce qu'ils sont arrêtés avec ça, là?
Sortons vite!
Ils veulent sortir de la NATO. On a be removed from NATO. Ok, arrête donc, là! Attendez une seconde. Oui. Bon. Bon, c'est ça. C'est un meeting avec... Ah ouais, ça là, je veux pas voir ça là. C'est des morts. Bon, fait que ils n'ont pas d'eau, puis ils n'ont pas de communication, puis il n'y a pas d'électricité dans le Inugurdor. Depuis samedi. Tu sais, j'ai dit aussi qu'il avait frappé le... Ça, c'est des morts, là, je veux pas voir ça. Ok, ça, c'est sur le pont. Ça marche de deux bords, regardez. C'est le pont, là. Comme je dis, ils ont été bien avertis, là, de... Ok. Un avion s'est fait frapper à Belgorod. Belgorod, c'est... Belgorod, c'est... C'est en Russie, ça. Ah, c'est ça. Ça, c'est ce qu'on a vu tantôt. C'est qu'on voulait dessus de la patente, là. Et je dis ça, là. Ouais, c'est ça. C'est un prélude de quelque chose, ça, cette affaire-là. Ça ici, là, c'est un prélude de quelque chose. Something... Sam... C'est ça. On sait pas c'est quoi qui va être dit.
Здесь, как бы, так что доложили, сомнений нет.
Qu'est-ce qu'on a vu tantôt, là, ça?
Направленный на разрушение критически.
Le Bélarus, ils disent que les écro-nazis ont fait sauter tous les ponts. Sam, arrête-toi, là. Les écro-nazis ont fait sauter tous les ponts qui ont rapport avec le... qui lie... Okay. Sam, je t'ai dit d'arrêter. Ah ouais, là-bas, là. Arrête avec ça, là. Ah ouais. Les écro-nazis ont tous fait sauter les ponts qui lient l'Ukraine puis Bélarus. The Ukro-Nazi blew up all the bridge that almost all the bridge. Quasiment tous les ponts sont sautés entre l'Ukraine et Belarus. Il dit qu'ils tirent à les border guards dans les airs. He's saying that they're shooting at their border guard up in the air. Ah, c'est ça. Attends, ça. Ça a l'air que Belarus amène ça a l'air que Belarus amène des tanks puis de l'équipement en Russie. Regardez. Je sais pas pourquoi Belarus amène des tanks en Russie, là. Bon, ça c'est un papier qui dit que le Wagner Group peut recruter des prisonniers de Belarus. Seems that the Wagner Group has been authorized to recruit prisoners in Belarus. Là, c'est encore à Belarus. Okay, supposedly tomorrow there's gonna be a Security Council meeting with Vlad. Let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. Bon, fait que c'est ça. On a fini avec ça, là. Je reviens vers 3 heures quand je vais avoir des filles de la lune. Mettons, dans 10 minutes, je vais revenir. On va regarder la lune. OK? La pleine lune aujourd'hui. So thank you everybody for joining. So I'll see you in about 10 minutes. The mood for the moon. And Nikki should come back at the top of the hour with more news about what's going on with there. So I'll see you then. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.